Hi there, this video is a short recap of the animation series Castlevania Season 4. Please comment, subscribe, share and like, if you enjoyed the recap. 6 weeks after the Battle of Lindenfeld, Trevor and Cypher find themselves exhausted, from constantly traveling the land killing night creatures and cultists trying to resurrect Dracula. During these battles, they learn about an elemental named Death, that eats the souls of the dead. The two arrive at Targoviste, where Dracula's campaign against humanity began. While exploring the ruins, Trevor finds a magical dagger. A pair of vampires named Barney and Ratko watch over the two, with Barney getting angry at their interference. Meanwhile, after adding numerous corpses outside Dracula's castle, Alucard encounters a horse with a dead messenger that has a map strapped to it. He learns that he is being summoned to the village of Danasty, who needs his help. After burying the body, Alucard looks in a mirror and realizes that he turned into Belmont, because he feels the need to interfere in other people's affairs. No longer imprisoned and on good terms with Lenore, Hector attempts to craft a new blacksmith's hammer, while secretly placing magic stones in the walls of the castle. When Lenore asks Carmilla to put up with Hector, Lenore learns that Carmilla seeks control of the entire world, and that she wants to take everything from those who took from her. Hector finishes working on the hammer. While trying to take a break, Trevor and Sypha are ambushed by Barney and Latko's night creatures, but are rescued by Xanfer, head guard of the Targoviste underground court. Zamfir hopes to recruit the couple to the local resistance, if she and the underground court can trust them. While Zamfir pursues Varney and Ratko, Trevor takes a glowing rock off the corpse of a resistance soldier, hoping it will help in the future. We see creatures of the night burying corpses and rebuilding the city of the magician under Isaac's guidance. He is pleased with the work and sits and enjoys the calm. At the campsite, Morgana and Striga are ambushed by ordinary people who try to drive them away. After she and her soldiers kill their attackers, Stygra laments that she and Morgana will plan and fight forever, conducting Carmilla's war, leaving them uncertain of their future. Carmilla contacts her sisters and urges them to return home. Back in Targoviste, Trevor and Sypha witness how the rest of the people are malnourished and decide to investigate the city, hoping to gain Zamfir's trust by helping others instead. Trevor also discovered that the magic dagger is energized by the glowing stone he took off the corpse. While Trevor and Sypha discuss the situation in Targoviste, Alucard arrives at Danasty and defends it from the attacking night creatures. Accepting the village leader Greta's request to act as its protector, Alucard also meets Saint Germain. In flashbacks, Germain is shown meeting his lover and with her, researching the Infinite Corridor until she went missing again. Within the Infinite Corridor, Germain meets an alchemist who gives him a key to the corridor which he can use to find his beloved, so long as he sacrifices everything he ever had, including his morals. He is also informed that the only way to truly control the corridor is to create a rebus, an artificial body that is both man and woman, infused with two souls. Returning to Earth, Germain embarks upon a dark path to collect necessary items and information, until he was recruited by Varney to aid in resurrecting Dracula. Allying with him and the vampire warrior Dragan, they orchestrate the attacks upon Danasty and other villages. Back in the present day, Germain suggests taking the people of Danasty to Dracula's castle for protection, to which Alucard agrees. Alucard, Greta, and Germain escort the villagers from Danasty, but are ambushed in the forest by creatures of the night. Alucard and Germain manage to kill them and lead the people to the castle. While Hector is creating the creatures of the night, Lenore informs him of Carmilla's plans to take over the world, and confesses that Carmilla used her in the same way Dracula used Hector. Back in Targoviste, Sypha expresses her anger that Zamfir is feeding her soldiers by stealing food from the already starving townsfolk. She saves Zamfir from a night creature attack, despite her indifference to her methods, as they cannot afford to lose able fighters. However, the creature covertly plants a magical tracking stone onto the back of Zamfir's neck, before being killed by Sypha. Back in Magician's Town, Isaac and his creatures of the night set off to attack Carmilla's castle. Isaac orders them to destroy everyone except Hector, who is thinking about murking himself. The Battle of Shtiria begins when Isaac and his army of night creatures collide with Carmilla's army. Lenore tries to pull Hector out of the castle, but she is trapped in Hector's magical barrier. Isaac meets Hector again and wants to kill him and Lenore, but decides to spare them both, after seeing Hector willing to give his life for Lenore's safety. Hector cuts off his own finger to remove her restraining ring, taking the control away from her and her sisters, and Isaac activates a barrier from the stones Hector had placed in the castle, trapping Carmilla in her war chamber. Isaac ensues on an extensive fight with Carmilla, overwhelming Carmilla with the creatures of the night, but Carmilla refuses to be killed by her enemies and take matters into her own hands before Isaac can finish her off. Morna and Striga withdraw with their squad after learning of Carmilla's death and go on their own, while Hector and Isaac discuss how they were taken advantage of. Isaac decides to create his own kingdom in Styria, while Hector stays in Lenore. Hector also said he was secretly working with Germain and Barney to revive Dracula. Trevor and Cypher eventually meet the underground court itself and discover that it consists of the decomposing corpses of the royal family, and Zamfir, who is quite mad and responsible for their demise, assumed the royal family was just sleeping. The tracking stone embedded in Zamfir allows Ratko and Barney to locate the underground court. As they plan their next move, Ratko taunts Barney as a mere criminal rather than a perfect vampire like himself, though Barney cryptically suggests he is not what Ratko thinks he is. As Sypha and Zamfir argue, Trevor finds more magical artifacts and finds they all fit together nicely. A horde of night creatures, led by Barney and Latko, invade the court. At the same time, while Alucard and Greta tend to the fugitives in Dracula's castle, Saint-Germain secretly signals Dragon's army, hidden in the woods, to march on the castle, bringing with them a rebus stitched together from the body parts of several corpses. Trevor, Sypha and Zamfir try to protect the Trgoviste survivors. Zamfir sacrificed herself to save a mother and child from Ratko, who was then killed by Trevor with a special cross-shaped blade taken from the underground court. Meanwhile, Alucard and Greta lead the fugitives into a desperate fight against Dragon's army, but are eventually forced back to Dracula's castle. They learn that Germain, who is now in the room where Dracula died, is using the souls of those killed in the ongoing battle to open an infinite corridor, through which he plans to awaken both Dracula and Lisa's souls, fusing them into the rebus. With the power of the rebus, Germain plans to gain unrestricted access to the corridor's infinite dimensions and safely search it for his missing lover. Alucard tries to stop him, but Germain puts up a magical barrier to protect himself. Back at Trgoviste, Varney finds a magic mirror that can teleport him to Dracula's castle, and uses it to join Saint Germain. Seeing Barney escape into the mirror, Trevor and Cypher give chase. Trevor and Cypher reach Dracula's castle through the glass and reunite with Alucard to fight the invaders. Dragon's forces bring the rubies to Germain, and Barney gives him Hector's forged sequence to fuse it with Dracula's and Lisa's souls. As Germain prepares for the ritual, Barney suddenly reveals that he was the alchemist who gave Germain the key to the Corridor of Infinity, before transforming into his true self. He turns out to be the ancient elemental spirit, Death. Death forced Germain to participate in the ritual, acknowledging that he had manipulated Germain into unleashing the insane Dracula upon the world again, so he can feast on the endless deaths Dracula causes. Trevor, Cypher, and Alucard kill Dragon and his generals and reach Germain just as he summons Dracula and Lisa to Rebus. When Trevor uses his Morningstar whip to break through the magic wall, a repentant Germain distracts Death, allowing Trevor to destroy the Rebus with holy water and the Morningstar whip, freeing Dracula and Lisa's souls. The resulting explosion damages the castle and mortally wounded Germain. Enraged, Death consumes the infinite corridor's key to gain more power. After telling Cypher he loves her, Trevor faces Death alone. Despite being severely wounded in the battle with Death, Trevor combines the artifacts he had recovered from the courtyard with a magical dagger, and in a final display of determination, uses it to stab Death, destroying him in a massive explosion that also engulfs Trevor. 2 weeks have passed since Trevor seemed to have sacrificed himself to conquer Death. Eleanor and Hector sit and discuss the future, to which she thinks she has none. Making her peace with Hector, she comments on not seeing the sunrise for so long, before stepping out on the balcony. Upon seeing the sunrise she comments on it being average, before turning to ash. At Dracula's castle, the refugees begin building a permanent settlement led by Alucard and Greta. Cypher reveals to Alucard that she is pregnant with Trevor's child. To their shock, a horse suddenly appeared carrying the wounded but still alive Trevor, who had been carried to safety through an infinite corridor by Saint Germain, just before the explosion. He reveals that the weapon used was originally created by a wizard, turned blacksmith, as part of a very one-sided murder-suicide pact with God. Reunited, the three look back on their lives together and look forward to a bright future. Meanwhile, in London, it turns out that Dracula and Lisa have been safely revived by the ritual and are living in an inn disguised as commoners. No one understands how, or why the ritual brought them back together, but they go into hiding and allow their son to live his own life, while promising to visit him one day. The series ends with Dracula and Lisa in bed together, fully embracing life's new opportunities and vowing to build a new future. Please comment, subscribe, share and like, if you enjoyed the recap, and bye for now.